Gentlemen, this week, questions for the club. On the left, we've got Craig Hutcheson, the manager of Torquay United Community Sports Trust.
Correct.
I'm going to call it Tust because it's a mouthful. But and on the right is Craig Hellier, who's Football Development Officer. Right, lads, straight in. Question one, and I'll ask this to you, Craig Hutch. How has the Tust focus changed in the last year? And it's a question that comes from Claire in Babbacombe, who has 2 children on Tust projects.
Okay, thank you for your question, Claire. We've changed the Community Sports Trust quite dramatically over the last year, otherwise known as Football in the Community when it first established back 25 years ago now.
Sorry to interrupt, why change the name? What was that behind?
We changed it to Torquay United Community Sports Trust. The sport is key. Football is what we do. We're Torquay United. But when we go and work in schools, we have to offer a wider provision as to the curriculum. So you'll be working on striking and fielding, which is your cricket and rounders. So we wanted to kind of offer that provision to the schools and also attract different types of coaches to come in and work within the Sports Trust. So with the Sport England funding, we were also hoping to attract a wider type of funding that can come into the charity. So with that type of activity with the sports, we've become more diverse.
You've just mentioned the word charity there, which I think probably not a lot of people are aware of. So what does it mean when you're a charitable status and a football sort of organisation like you are?
Yeah, well, basically, we are Torquay United in terms of the branding. However, the Community Sports Trust is a charity, so therefore, financially, we are separate. We are governed by directors, we have trustees. So we've just got a new chairman of the trust, actually, Christine Pountney, and she's been excellent coming in and helping me in the new role as well and supporting the staff. And we basically run out of the football club. We go in and the branding is Torquay United, but we are a separate entity financially and we are governed by those directors.
Craig, I'm going to turn to you, and while that sport and that overarching sport is a key theme, as Football Development Officer, you're obviously delivering perhaps the core of football and going into schools. What's it like, and does that brand, that Torquay United brand, still work and still carry a message in local schools?
Yeah, it certainly does. Often I'll go into a school and teach PE and go in there, and it could be ranging from handball, like we say, or it could be football, or it could be cricket. The children do come up and they will go, Torquay United Football Club, Torquay United Football Club, you know, with smiles on their faces. So definitely in the local community where we're very strong in Torquay, we do hold a really good reputation and name within the schools and within the children.
Okay, chaps, I'm going to move on to, we'll sort of come back to community provisions, but the next question is from Paul in Preston, which I presume is Preston Paynton. What role do you guys have in the academy structure, the newly founded academy structure, and how do you see the project working in the short term? I'll perhaps go to you first, Craig.
Great question, and thank you for your question. I would say that's probably a two-folded question. Firstly, I would probably answer that to say that it's a very positive thing that the football club and the new owners have come in and are backing a new youth football programme. It's something that the club needs moving forward, and taking the first steps on that ladder, if you like, to start that process is a hugely positive thing. In the short term, and our role within this, you know, we're going to be looking to be actively out in the community. We're holding trials very soon, forming our squads. We've got a very successful already development strand that we work in, and we have centres based locally and a bit more further afield in the likes of Kingsbridge, for example. And in the short term, we're going to be looking to making sure that those squads are formed and joining the Junior Premier League as the club's article last week that the club brought out.
Obviously, we know it's step one, and it's step one under the new ownership and under Jeff Harrop. Obviously has vast experience in academy structures. However, if we're going to speak a bit more frankly, it's probably not step one, because you guys have been running a programme of such in the absence of an academy system anyway. Is the difference now, is it fair to say that what you're going to offer is you're now looking for, along with all the community programmes, the elite player? So you're looking for the real talents out there?
We are looking for a pathway. to the first team. That's what we're looking for. So right from when they come into the community sessions at 3 years old, 3 and 4 years old, there has to be a pathway, and whether that player is an elite player, then they deserve to go to that strand. So we are, very much on the footings of this journey and where we are going. You're right, we put a lot of hard work over the last year in forming these development centres, albeit, yes, okay, the quality now needs to be stepped up with the football club coming under, that partnership with ourselves. But I do believe that, we've got trial Saturday, next Thursday. That'll be an ongoing process over the next few weeks, really, to sort of get the right calibre of player. But the early discussions that we've had with the club, which have been going on now for the past couple of months, speaking to Jeff on a regular basis, and Dave Hedges as well, who's our new recruitment officer, have been really, really positive. They've seen the vision that we were putting together and the discussions that we've had, and they are backing us fully to make sure that Torquay United is at forefront in youth development and eventually attaining an academy status sometime in the future.
You've kind of answered the next question, which was from John in Totnes, and how RSL or Riviera Stadium Limited or GI perhaps, as some guys know them, he asked how was the arrival of those guys and Jeff affected the Community Sports Trust. I suppose this whole academy system is the evidence, if you like.
Yeah, in some ways it's not affected us at all, because we've always had a very good positive relationship for the 25 years that we've worked here in these four walls. But in another way as well, it's been a really sort of refreshing time. So with the youth development, we've been fully backed with the discussions with Jeff, Dave, Clark. And moving forward, we've got great aspirations as well with joining and already building on the good links that we've got in the communication and the social media as well. Our Twitter, Facebook, website, we're looking at how we can forge a little bit more of a closer unity with the website to make it a little bit more interactive for the user and to know what's going on in the community as well as what's going on out there on the first team on the pitch as well. So there are discussions taking place. Yes, we are looking to improve, but we're already building on some of the success that we've already had.
I'm going to go back to the community side, perhaps away, not so much the academy side, and your core, your bread and butter, if you like, of soccer schools and kids out playing football at, be it at Torquay Academy or Paynton College or all these different sites that we familiarly see you guys. Is that aspect still flourishing for you?
Oh, massively. I think if we can call that the foundation of what we do at that stage of football and that stage of sport, that will always be vital to what we do and the core of what we do. Yes, if we look from a football terms at thing, that a player can move up that pathway, and we do have a first team, in our back garden, so that's a great pathway for them. But kids at the other end of the spectrum or in other sessions within our business are hugely important, and their value is never lost in what we do. Sessions might be pitched differently and the sports might be different, but it's all important to the business that we are and the people that we are.
The final one is sort of comes from an internal question, really, when a little bit of research and you look at the different things that are on offer, the different packages, and it goes from weight management programs. Obviously we've got a flourishing disability football program, mental health, apprenticeships, creating jobs, looking at education, all these different things that are going on that perhaps a lot of people wouldn't realise. I mean, for you as the manager, is it a case of juggling balls sometimes?
Yeah, it's never a dull moment. When I first come into this job, I went and met with Jamie Vitters at Exeter and Mark Lovell at Plymouth as well, and both of those were hugely supportive. I think it's important that we have...
They're your equivalents at those clubs?
Yeah, they're the community managers at those clubs. So it's important that we have good links with the local clubs. Also met with Steve Cuss at Bournemouth as well, who used to work for Torquay United Football in the community back in the Frank Prince days, and also a colleague of mine back then as well. And I sort of gauged about how do they manage it, because it is a lot to manage. There's lots of different sections, just like you're saying there, from schools to community engagement to match day packages, holiday programs, inclusion work, which ranges from disability, education programs, and then one-off events that we do as well. It's really important. The last 12 months we've looked at the structure. So we've looked at how do we become more kind of slicker, how do we get people engaged to want to stay with the Community Sports Trust, and that's given responsibility. So we've now got heads of department like Craig is football development officer. It's a department for him. It's something to get his teeth into, and also really in sort of engaging you in the last sort of 4 or 5 months to be able to get it to where it is today, and the future looks bright. We've also got community engagement officer, schools development. We've got an inclusion officer as well, which takes on board some of the mental health football programs which we've got running for adults, which is called Kickstart. We link that with the FA. Partnerships, really, really important when you're working in the community. Forging links, and not just across Torquay, across the whole of South Devon. So what we need to do, we've just got up and coming now a partnership with South Devon College. It's just been released really about the White Rock site. They've just gone to stage 1, and we're really excited about a programme that we're going to be running with them called Active Kids and Communities. We're going to be working with their students as well as with students from other secondary schools within the Bay to give them work-based learning, so they come and work with us in primary schools, therefore helping them to support them onto education programmes and in future employment as well. So we almost have to like grow our own staff and forge them, you know, kind of like model them into how we want them to be at Torquay United. We need to get that pride and keep that pride about Torquay United. It's a great football club. We're very proud to work for the football club, and we are very ambitious as a trust as well. And I think everything that's going on at the moment can only be positive for everyone who's involved.
Well, lads, thanks very much. I know you're coaches and not interviewees, but it was brilliant, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.